Let's now turn to our top focus at this hour. We have reported earlier how the month of February was the hottest ever since 1901. Yes, in 122 years, the hottest February was experienced by the country. The average maximum temperature was at 29.66 degrees Celsius, highest that it has ever been since 1901, surpassing the average maximum temperature of 29.48 degrees centigrade in 2016. So now as March unfolds, the IMD predicts that it's only going to get hotter. There will be higher possibility for the occurrence of heat waves, and India will need to prepare for this. The government has also directed health departments across the country to implement heat-related health action plans. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has already written to states to take adequate measures to prepare for the heat wave conditions. So what qualifies as a heat wave? According to the IMD, a heat wave is said to occur when the average maximum temperature is 4.5 to 6.4 degrees centigrade above the long-term average, or above 40 degrees centigrade in plains and 30 degrees centigrade in the hilly areas. For the coastal areas, the benchmark is 37 degrees centigrade. We're going to talk about the coastal areas and the heat waves witnessed in these parts today. As per IMD forecast, both monthly maximum and minimum temperatures are likely to be above normal in March. The upcoming hot weather season this year, March to May, is likely to witness above normal maximum temperatures over most parts of northeast India, east and central India, as well as some parts of northwest India. Many regions in central and northwest India will also witness an enhanced probability of the occurrence of heat waves between March and May this year. So let's take the instance of Goa, and if we look at the forecast for Goa, according to IMD, due to the strengthening of easterly winds and delay in settling time of sea breeze, the maximum temperature over Goa is likely to remain 4 to 6 degrees Celsius higher than its normal value. Goa government has curtailed school timings in view of the surge in temperature. Classes are being conducted only till 12 noon across the state so that children can be back home before the temperatures rise during midday. The moot point here is A, severe heat wave conditions require us to step up in order to face the extreme heat conditions in our day-to-day lives. B, of course, it serves as a warning for nations across the world to buckle up with their policies towards climate change. In COP26 held in October 2021, countries stressed the urgency of action in this critical decade when carbon dioxide emissions must be reduced by 45% in order to reach net zero around mid-century. To talk about all these issues, in fact, I'm going to go across now. Joining me here on the program is Avikal Somvanshi, author and program lead of CSE. Very good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Somvanshi. It's good to have you with us here on the program. And we were just talking about how unless there's a concerted effort now towards the goals related to climate change, the impact of climate change, which we see manifesting in a way in these heat wave conditions. What is your take on how we are handling this, where we are headed, given the fact that we are talking about highest ever temperatures in 122 years last month in February, and things are being forecast as forecast there will be heat conditions this month as well?
So, as we are witnessing that the climate has considerably changed already, heat waves, which used to be extreme weather event, they used to occur rarely, now have become a staple. They are every year. Now we are seeing them in months like February and March, which is also very strange. And of course, this is a warning signal towards all the efforts the global community is making towards cutting down carbon emissions and controlling climate change. And sadly, the efforts are not up to the mark as the scientists are asking for if we want to stop this catastrophe from happening. So the target of 1.5 degrees will not be met with the current targets or the commitments made by the country. They are saying the estimates are that given what countries have committed so far, we are looking at increase of 2 to 3 degrees, which is already very high. Mm-hmm. And seeing the impact already on people all across the world, especially in India because of heat waves, we need to revisit our commitments to cut emissions and carbon and get serious about it now.
Right. Cutting emissions, it's in fact one of the goals, isn't it, that India is committed to in the global treaties as well, if I'm not mistaken, in the last climate summit as well. There were commitments made. What I want to understand is, are these conditions, the current conditions that we are witnessing, indicative of the fact that despite the awareness, despite the efforts of the policymakers, we are failing to arrest the debilitating effects of climate change?
True. So the efforts which have been made so far have not been significant enough, and that's why the climate has already changed. That's why we are seeing erratic monsoon and these heat waves lashing throughout the countries, and these are going to stay. Now the effort has to be that this doesn't become even worse. What has changed, we cannot go back as such, as the scientific community agrees that what has been done has been done. What we need to make sure that this 4 to 5 degrees increase during the heat wave doesn't become 10, 20 degrees, and we need to start working towards that. And at the same time, we need to start adapting the way we are living and how we are functioning across the country, and get used to this new normal that now the temperatures during the seasons will be 4 to 5 degrees higher. And how do we adapt and adjust to it, and what needs to be done about it?
Right. One is emission, one part of it. The other part of it, if I've understood this correctly, is also the issue of afforestation, how we can make some proactive efforts for carbon sink, as it's called. Do you think that, it's not taken seriously enough by respective governments? It doesn't make it to election manifestos or in any of the poll campaigns, the fact that this is as important as anything else, if not the most important thing?
Afforestation is a very important factor, but let's be real about it. The focus has to be preserving the current forest and trees. When you plant a tree, it takes years and decades for it to grow to sink the carbon which we want to sink. And we don't have the liberty or the luxury of waiting 20, 30 years for these forests to grow. What needs to be done immediately is that we stop felling these trees and forests which are all around. We are seeing, whether it's Goa, Delhi, or even in the islands of India, that we are cutting down trees and forests at a massive scale, and that should not be happening. We need to stop deforestation first, and then also step up our afforestation efforts so that the future generations have something to look forward to.
Yes, thanks very much for joining us with your valuable inputs on the subject, Mr. Somvanshi. Appreciate you giving us time today.